All right, switching gears now. The missing Air Asia flight is the third incident this year with ties to Malaysia. Why is it a coincidence? What is going on with the Malaysian Airlines? Join me this time from Washington, D.C. is military expert, someone who is also a former U.S. Army chopper pilot, Amber Smith. Amber, welcome to the show.
Hi, Rick. It's great to be here.
Great to have you back. So, Amber, what's going on? Third incident this year involving a plane with ties to Malaysia. What's your take on this as a former U.S. Army chopper pilot?
Yeah, it's an absolutely tragic event. It's been a rough year in terms of these airline disasters, but it is still an ongoing search and rescue operation. And thankfully, they have found the part of the debris and some bodies as well that will lead them down their investigation to find out ultimately what ended up causing the crash.
What do you believe is happening in terms of this trend?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, from everything that I have heard and seen, it sounds to me like it was weather related. Both of the pilots were extremely experienced in this aircraft, as well as across the board of aviation. So it doesn't necessarily sound like it was pilot error. The aircraft had recently come out of scheduled maintenance within the past few months, which means it had time to work out any sort of maintenance bugs that could have been the result of faulty maintenance. So it doesn't sound like it's maintenance related at all. In terms of the ATC traffic, the radio communication between the pilot and the control crew, when they asked to divert and sort of climb to get around weather, that's not out of the ordinary in terms of the airlines and climbing.
But Amber,
to avoid weather.
Amber, as someone who is an expert in as I say, as a former U.S. Army chopper pilot, why do you believe there is this trend? Why? I mean, we've had 3 incidents this year alone involving airlines with ties to Malaysia.
Well, I actually don't think it's a trend at all. With the Malaysian flight that disappeared, Flight 370, we still don't know what has happened. Until we find the plane, we're not going to know what happened. Obviously, there was suspected foul play involved with that aircraft. The other Malaysian flight was shot down by Russian fighters, suspected Russian fighters. And so they're not none of those are tied to weather, as I mentioned. But we really won't know until, as I mentioned, with the debris and the bodies, that they're going to do all sorts of investigations into each and every piece that is selected and found, and that will lead them down the path to find out what happened. So yes, it's been a terrible year for aviation in terms of these crashes and these like mysterious disasters, especially surrounding 370. But I wouldn't say it is a trend. I think it's an unfortunate coincidence.
An unfortunate I mean, it's been a terrible year for aviation, but not just aviation. Aviation with ties to Malaysia. Switching gears now. You're a veteran. You served America in Afghanistan and Iraq. There's a new Al-Qaeda magazine out which urges the bombing and lone wolf attacks, bombing of more planes. Al-Qaeda seems to be implying a 9/11 style attack is on the horizon. What can you tell us about this latest propaganda out of Al-Qaeda?
Well, this is an English language magazine that is published by AQAP, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. It's been around since 2010, and it encourages these lone wolf style attacks on U.S. targets, on Western targets around the world, and it has step-by-step instructions on how to build bombs. It even offers recommendations for targets and how to carry out these attacks. So it's really meant to inspire these lone wolves, these people who are radicalized online, and then go out and see some of the attacks like we saw in October with the attack on the NYPD where 2 NYPD police officers were injured. In Ottawa, we saw a radicalized individual go after and shoot a Canadian soldier. In London in 2012, we saw 2 individuals attack a British soldier, killing him on the streets with a hatchet. So we're seeing these increase in lone wolf attacks, and these type of publications are contributing to that.
Amber, do you believe that given the heightened security measures on the airlines, there could ever be a hijacked airplane again?
Well, I think since 9/11, security measures have increased, and preventative measures have increased as well. So I don't want to say that it can't happen. I definitely think it could happen if the right things fell into place. I think the biggest thing we've got going against hijacking planes in today's society is the passengers on the plane. I don't think we should underestimate them. The American people saw what happened, and the world saw what happened on 9/11, and I don't think that passengers on a plane will allow that that style of attack to happen again. I think they'll fight back, just as we saw with the flight that crashed in Pennsylvania on 9/11.
In this English Al-Qaeda magazine that you reference, Amber, it's one of the things it does. It's suggesting it targets economic targets here in America, economic personalities like Bill Gates, wealthy entrepreneurs, company owners. Have we ever seen anything so blatant and so blunt and so direct from Al-Qaeda-linked organizations in terms of targeting U.S. personalities, U.S. individuals, Western individuals, such as this?
Well, I think it's very interesting in terms of naming people to go after. I wouldn't say it's necessarily out of the ordinary. I think that anything they can get their hands on, if it's a soft target, a hard target, anyone that's in the public eye, anyone who's an influential figure inside the United States, that they would be able to claim, whether it's a lone wolf attack or a complex coordinated attack against an individual or infrastructure or any target inside the U.S., they would gladly claim responsibility for that. And I think it's something that we're going to continue to see. It's very easy for them to write in a magazine, you know, here are your targeted individuals, go after them. But
all right, Amber, military
it's
expert, former U.S. Army chopper pilot, we thank you for joining us, giving us your perspective, expertise, and insight on the AirAsia airliner and the Al-Qaeda story. Have a happy New Year. So who will be our Mama Luke of the day?